item 2. So basically, the staff client in Koha is changing. It's going to look shiny and new in the next release. And I'm going to show a little bit about how we got there and what it looks like now. So it was proposed about a year ago in December 2021 by BibLibra. Koha's been around for a long time, and it's gone for a few iterations on its staff client, but we decided we wanted to modernize it. We wanted to look a bit fresh, look a bit newer. We wanted to take a few leaves out of Google's book, for example. So he proposed it, sent out a mailing list item, got a bit of support from community, and Bob's your uncle, he decided to sponsor an intern for 6 months. So we had a nice, fresh, young-faced intern working on it, and they were committed for 6 months of work. Quickly after that, we were given a bit of a presentation of the proposal. We got quite a lot of feedback. Ooh. How do I show the comments? So you guys have all seen this. Koha as it stands today. Yeah. And then we decided that we'd look for a bit of a color scheme. So they came up with some coding guidelines, some guidelines for colors, and they were looking for accessibility. They were looking for contrast changes and something to just bring us a bit cleaner, a bit more bright. As you can see, there were quite a lot of comments. We got a bit of a focus group going, and we were very quickly inundated with feedback on these colors. Do you like green? I hope you like green, because we went with green. We came up with a few mock-ups, a few different ideas for buttons. We decided to go for the flat approach. So material design, which is a big set of guidelines written by Google, they like flat. So we got rid of shadows and we got rid of bubbly buttons. They decided they wanted a particularly different font. So we found a nice open source font and then quickly ripped it out again because it didn't work very well when we actually put it into progress. And we came up with a boxing style to box out the different parts of a page. So it became much clearer which elements on a page work well, which elements you're actually focusing in on. And we tried to make calls to action a bit clearer. So there's a nice yellow checkout item, because that's the most important button on the page. Let's actually highlight it to people. I go back to my one. Then there was a submission. And we got more feedback. Lots and lots and lots of feedback. Lots and lots of submission code. So pages and pages and pages of it. At this point, we'd hit 6 months, and our intern had to disappear back to school. So they got a more senior developer brought in from BibLib. And we started on testing and quality assurance, and he decided, I need feedback on individual things. I can't track it all in that one place. So he put it on GitHub, and now we had lots of feedback on lots of individual bugs, each of them working through. So we worked through quality assurance, and even after that, we got to a minimum point where the minimum viable product was there, working. We decided to push it because he was struggling to keep up with how much feedback we were giving. So we pushed it, and it's in the development branch. And then ever since, we have been chasing a long tail to fix all the little bugs we introduced. Another nice big list. Shall we have a look? So, right up on the first page, we can see our nice new action button. Nice, clear login. So you might have noticed in that mock-up, we had quite a different search bar. That very quickly became a bit of a problem for accessibility. Having everything hidden behind a single button without a label, turns out they don't like that for accessibility. You like to have nice, big, chunky labels, and you need good contrast, white on black, or white on green in this case. So you've got a nice new search bar at the top, takes up quite a lot less space. so you can see the rest, more of the focal content of the page displayed in one way. Shall we look at borrower? That's my search header. Got a nice show of the card layout, so the flat sectional parts of each page. So there's now, the contrast isn't great on this projector, but you can see there's a contact card, there's an attributes card, there's a card about the messaging preferences. So each piece is much more distinct on the page. There's a bug. That should be in red or in yellow, the attention block. So we've got different background colors to try and draw your attention in to informational blocks. And things like the tabs are looking a bit different. They're a bit tidier. Where's another good one? Administration. So there's a nice blue box. So blue boxes are information boxes. A yellow box is a warning box or an action you need to take part in. A red box is you can't do this, we've blocked it, there's a problem here. So you've got a real distinct warning and change of difference. And that's the main pieces. So hopefully things are a little bit clearer. We've got nice informational backgrounds, nice use of materials, kind of standards and flatness. The overwhelming feedback so far is you have 5 minutes of, oh, this is different. And then you realize it's still Koha. You still know where you're going. Things are still in the same places. They look a bit different, but they're still in the same places, and you're drawn to the right parts of the screen and the right actions where you need to go. So it's not quite as scary as it initially looks. Hopefully it's exciting rather than scary. One last one I wanted to point out, tangentially related, we're also trying to do a bit of a cleanup on modules and where things live. Where's cataloging on? There we go. So we've had a bit of a tidy up and we've started to move things around a little bit. So some of the tools that were all related to cataloging actions, they're now under a brand new cataloging homepage. And there's a bit of a task in the future to try and clarify our distinct modules a bit more clearly in this sort of way. So any questions? So it's going to be fully released in 22.11. So we will be starting to roll that out about 6 months later. So next summer is the first time you're going to see that.
There's a few people who aren't familiar with the release cycle. Many people are, but there are a few people who aren't on Koha yet.
Brilliant. So Koha has a 6 monthly feature release cycle and a monthly bug fix release cycle. So there's a release every month to fix bugs and improve security issues, which you guys won't see. It's all silent in the background, and it's just to keep the system ticking along and make sure we're fixing little bugs. And then once every 6 months, there's a feature release, which is where you'll see big changes like this, where you'll see your new enhancements, or where you'll see your big new features, things we're selling and hope make Koha a nice, better product. Those releases are in May, an 05 release, and in November, an 11 release. And as a company, we stick with the 11s, simply because I think it's a bit too much to do 2 upgrades a year and put people off with having to relearn things twice a year. That once a year works well, and it gives us. We tend to kind of go 4 months behind, so we've got a good number of the bug fixes in place. So, like I just showed, there was a bug in the background of the action should be yellow to say this is action and stand out a bit more. That'll be fixed by the time you guys get there. That'll probably be fixed by this afternoon. Now I've spotted it.
Is there anything, looking at the circulation and fines rules, we have a lot of item types, a lot of patron categories, and a lot of sites, and it's quite unwieldy.
It is. There's been a few people that have attempted to tidy that up and improve it, and so far it's gone back to the drawing board 3 or 4 times. So there's still work going on to try and improve it, but so far, when we've improved one thing, we've broken it for someone else or made it more unwieldy in a different way. So there's certainly a bug that's looking at an easy way to say, I'm at this library doing this type item and this rule. Which rule is it going to find me? So it just at least it finds the right rule and shows you the set of it flies to the right place. The actual interfacing of adding those rules, we're still working on, I'm afraid.
Same with the transport matrix. So if you can have the top line moving down with you, or the sidebar moving across with you. I haven't got a screen big enough. Only last week I had to put in 156 lines working in circles.
So that's actually a new coding guideline that's going to come in. We're looking to introduce a lot more floating toolbars, so that being able to float down. That was one of my other pieces actually. We're working on a style guide so that we can keep consistency going forward. This was something that was meant to be done as part of the intern's work, but she couldn't keep up with all the feedback coming in. So at the moment, there's 3 small bugs and a whole host of questions. And this is being worked on by a small core team of Koha to try and just build in more consistency into our user interfaces. So you might have noticed sometimes your alert box is above the toolbar, sometimes it's beneath. Sometimes the header title is above or beneath the toolbars. So we're trying to bring a real consistency in. Well, which toolbar should go at the top? Should filters go on the left or at the top or on the right? And we're bringing, that's part of this sort of project. The first round was make it look a bit prettier. The second round is improve some of that consistency. So, and I've got a new team of developers, so I'm going to be throwing loads of consistency bugs up.
Has it compared on mobile devices?
It's been tested. It's still a bit of a work in progress, mobile device-wise. Things like checkout work are already starting to improve and get a bit better. But some things like the circulations matrix, there's just not an easy way to display that on mobile as yet that we've come up with.
It's, could be a different URL for the old one if you're happy with that.
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not this time.
Big bang.
Yeah, big bang. We've done that approach in the past as a community, and we found that maintaining 2 parallel themes whilst also adding in new enhancements and new features, we just ended up putting more and more bugs into the system because you'd miss one or you'd miss the other. So it was taken as a decision to do that. It should help with allowing you to customize yourself a bit more. We've been improving things like consistency of classes and consistency of the way the templates are all built. So if you're a heavy user of Internet User JS or Internet User CSS, you should find that it starts to apply a little bit more widely. Like if you don't like green, you could turn that green to another color with one line instead of having to track it everywhere. It's Koha green, but it sticks with the rest of Koha community's coloring. Okay.